Now it's my pleasure to introduce the next speakers, who is going to open a conference talking about how to organize a conference. Because this is what she has done. We at SIX, we had last year, we had a TEDx. So we had an internal TEDx conference, something that we've never done before. So something completely new. And it was also done in a completely new and innovative way. And Ramona was the project manager, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
sort
call
of.
it that.
Okay, you didn't have the title project manager because she has the title senior community builder. But Ramona organized that, and she's going to share with us how she did it. Ramona.
Thank you very much. If you remember one thing from this talk today, remember that we can enrich both our work experience and our work by allowing ourselves to be more than our job titles. Woo! That's not, this is working out. All right. Imagine this. A company gives their employees trust to take a project and completely run with it. Crazy idea, right? So they get all the resources they need, even the ability to take decisions democratically, and even the ability to choose their leaders bottom up. Crazy idea, right? But as I was introduced, this is exactly what happened at SIX last year, when 26 volunteers volunteered to do just this crazy project that was a big conference to enhance, to support our company culture. I was chosen to be their, well, not their project manager, but their top coordinator, let's call it. Me, then pregnant former journalist with a taste for revolution. When I was 5, why I say this, taste for revolution, because when I was 5, my parents' generation were working hard on taking down the Iron Curtain in my country. I grew up in Romania. And I, on my mini scale, was preparing a revolution of my own. Because in kindergarten, well, 5, there was a great injustice because the little Lego figurines were kidnapped by a group of people who were playing with Barbies. Why? The Legos belong to the people playing with Legos. So I stood up for this injustice, and I convinced a group of people to follow me and talk to the teacher about it and make this better. Of course, that mini revolution turned a little bit more bloody than I expected because my colleague had to reinforce his arguments with throwing my Lego house at someone. But that's when I realized the power of communities. And I knew that I will want someday to become a community builder. And I realized how this is quite a powerful thing for good and for evil, as I saw in the projectile of the Lego house. At SIX, I've had the opportunity to work as a community builder for 4 years now. So I'm very privileged to have the possibility to affect people's lives, people's jobs on a daily basis. I think it's a cool thing. So let's see what this entails and what it entailed in March when we organized TEDx 6. I get to talk about culture a lot to people. We get to affect the culture of the company a lot. When I talk about culture, people usually react in 2 ways. They either react like, oh, not again. And that's usually the people who had to do the trustful one too many times. But most people who have worked with in cultures that really didn't work lean in and try to understand, okay, how do we do this better? How do we create a culture where we can all work together, we can all bring our ideas in, and it just works? What companies usually do when they do this, when they do this, when they try to affect the culture, is they build a beautiful website. They put on ideas, they put on stories of their employees, hashtag authenticity, they take their logo and turn it into rainbow colors, hashtag LGBT allies. And I mean, that's great, but it's very short term. You can't read a brochure and expect, we now are different. I mean, everybody who has ever tried to affect change in themselves, like quit smoking or convince their partner to put the laundry inside the basket, not next to the basket, knows this. This is not an easy task. But you have to start somewhere. And we started with the 6 spirit values. These are the values that we have. The 6 spirit is, not everybody's at 6, from 6 here, I know. This is what we call our cultural change. And these are our values. And 3 years ago, 6 really put their money where their mouth was and really tried to make this into a sustainable change. So we invited every employee, and we have a little bit more than 3,700, to a 3-day workshop in a hotel to experience these. Now, I am a realist, and I'm very passionate about what I do, so I want to do it. So when my manager told me, look, Ramona, you have to drop your work for 3 days and go to a hotel, and you have to talk about feelings, I was like, cool. Can I read the brochure? But no, I couldn't. And that made me, well, not happy at the time, but I must say that I was completely convinced afterwards, to the point where I'm now I joined the team that is organizing these things. And I was not the only one feeling like this. Pretty much everybody who participated, and as you saw, there was no choice, loved this. And their biggest complaint was that it would end. So after these 3 days, you would go back to your work, all the glitter from whatever you learned in this workshop is gone. And you're like, cool, what do we do now? So we needed something that helps people to continue and keep the glitter on. And we partnered with a giant glitter factory, which is TED. Who knows TED? Okay. For the very few who don't, this is a huge platform for ideas. It's called TED, Ideas Worth Spreading. Every year they have a conference in Vancouver where they invite speakers to talk their hearts out and their minds. And there's TEDx, like we had at 6, that are organized everywhere, usually by volunteers. When you organize a TEDx event, there are a lot of rules, right? Because you buy a license. The biggest rule is that we were not allowed to tell anyone about this. So we weren't allowed to put it on social media. That's why you haven't heard about it. But it comes with a great bonus, right? They taught us how to give those awesome talks that you know from YouTube. By partnering with TED, we were hoping to create a giant platform ourselves for people to be able to try out new ideas, to be brave and do things they wouldn't normally do, to try out jobs that are not theirs, right? So someone from IT working in communication and the other way around. Maybe even try their skills at leadership. Why not? It's a good platform for that. So we were hoping to do a bunch of things. How did we start? We start by asking for volunteers. Of course, the 26 people stepped up, and we then did something that surprised even TED. because they have a certain way of doing things. Even, very innovative companies, they still have processes. So we kind of broke those by asking our employees to vote for the people who they want to see on stage. Again, we did something even braver. We asked our employees to be brave, because people had to record themselves and talk about what moves them, what they want to talk about, and then put it on our intranet for everybody else to see. Now, I don't know how you would feel about it, but most people were like, can't you just choose? But it was actually much better that we let the people choose. And in fact, now TED is considering to apply this to other conferences they're organizing as well, because it worked really good for us. These are the people that ended up being on stage. So we have 6 people giving talks, and 4 people just showing their talent, which is a very, very scary thing to do at work. I think you all agree. If I would ask any of you to start singing right now, I won't, but imagine. So the way we chose it was democratic, but what we got from it was completely egalitarian. For a person organizing conferences usually, I was super surprised to see I think the first conference in fintech where there are more women on stage than men. And if you look at what countries these people are from, it's completely fair split between offices that we have around the world. We have people from Spain, we have people from the US, we have people from Poland. I mean, we couldn't have planned this better, and we didn't plan it. We allowed people to choose. Also, if you look at what the people were talking about, so our colleagues decided to put on stage people who are not talking about, how to perfect your Excel skills or how to invest in blockchain. No, they wanted to hear actual stories of their colleagues that moved them. For example, how Pilar managed to overcome the imposter syndrome, or how Nanda's experience on an oil drilling rig has marked him for life. And this is quite amazing for a democratic decision. We had a bunch of groups that we put the volunteers in, and this is where I come to the first statement of this talk. This all happened democratically. They could choose what team to be in, of course. They were there to learn something new, to experience something new, so they could choose what they wanted to do. But at the very first meeting of these teams, they could choose their leader. They could say, we vote for this person to be our head, which was quite radical. And it worked. Proof that it worked is that for one team, when I joined, I didn't know that we were doing this. So I chose the leader. And it didn't work, because a few weeks afterwards, this person said, look, thanks for choosing me, but I am not the person who is actually leading this group. There's another person who is doing this, and I think this person should have the title. I don't think I need this title for myself if I'm not doing the work. Now, this goes against any intuition what a person in leadership would do. I think you agree with me on this. And in fact, his teammates respected this person much more for doing this than if he would have just continued as before. Now, COVID. I think you know this curve. I think as project managers, you've been staring at this curve like I did for a year and a half now. We are at the building of the stock exchange, but this is not an index. But we are equally invested in it going up and down. Every month of planning from November, when I joined, until 23rd of March, when the event took place, for me, it was a topical month. So, of course, November was the time when we recruited and assigned roles. As I said, everything went on quite democratically, and we all loved it. It was a new, in German it's called Aufbruchstimmung, because it was something new. It's like, what, we can choose things, we can do whatever we want, this is cool, let's do stuff. Great. Then December, the people who knew how to do things that they chose to do would just start, but that was a rare occasion. Most people chose to do something they had no idea how to do. For example, putting subtitles on a video that someone else made. I mean, it even looks complicated. I don't know about you, but all these choices. But, of course, people were motivated to learn. Everybody was having a blast when we asked them to do, the easy stuff. For example, we wanted the volunteers to put stories of the people who are going to be on stage on the intranet. And you're thinking, okay, these people, I mean, they have never done this before. They're going to write an article and this is going to be good. But they were like, yeah, but that's boring. We don't want to write an article. We want to make videos. And I'm like, yeah, but these people are not here and you're working from home. And you've never done videos before, and you can't just do it with your phone because you have to record it in a meeting, and then you have to cut it, and then you have to put subtitles on. And they were like, yeah, yeah, we're going to do that. I was like, oh, great. Yeah, do that. But they did do that. We had people teaching them, like we had people from 6 who do this on a regular basis, teaching them how to do it. And this is only one example. Everybody did something that they had no idea how to do. But they wanted to figure it out, and this was brave, and it was successful. In the end, they did awesome videos that people loved because they were genuine. And then came the time to actually do it, right? So you teach, and then in January you would do, right? Yeah, let's hope. Because for me, in January is the time when I realized that all these people who had no idea what they're going to do are now going to do it. And they're going to do it aside from their work. People didn't take time off work to do TED. People did TED next to their work. And in January is usually the time when people have a lot of stuff to do. And there's absolutely nothing that kept the volunteers from saying, so, thank you for teaching us, but now we actually have to work because we're getting paid for a thing. Yeah, so for me, this meant, oh God, are they going to stay? And they did. It all changed in this meeting. Well, not this meeting, I'm cheating a little bit. I don't have an actual picture of the meeting that changed things, but it was a meeting just like this. The person in the red shirt is Manish. He's one of my favorite people at 6 to work with. He does very serious stuff in his day job, but for TED, he was the leader of the army of people who would prepare the people on stage to actually be on stage. Then we have Mark in the white t-shirt. He is, we invited him to be a coach for the speakers because we knew that he is a very accomplished Toastmaster. Now, we wouldn't know this if we didn't know him personally, because he's not a Toastmaster at 6, again, doing something completely different in his day job. And we have Varanza, who is one of the speakers. Now, in this meeting, I was still in the freak-out mode. I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to run away. They're going to just do their stuff, and I'm going to be left with like 3 people throwing an entire event. But in this meeting, I started listening to them. I started listening to Aranza rehearse, to all the other speakers talk their hearts out. And then I knew that this is not going to happen. People are not going to leave this event because time and time again they were telling me that it's the best part of their day, at least while at work. I found myself cheering for the speakers with the camera off, with the microphone off, because, you know, it's me and a computer in the room, and you know how meetings in COVID go. But I was there cheering for them, alone in the room, knowing very well nobody's going to hear me. Because they chose to talk about themselves, because they chose to talk about something that actually moved them. And it's impossible for the other people not to be moved when they hear this. When you talk about something that you care about, people are going to care with you. So, February was for me the month of trust, because I knew that these people are motivated and they're going to stay because they're motivated. And they're motivated because this event is not mine. That's why I don't want to call myself the team lead of this, or I don't even know what to call myself. I'm the coordinator. It was their event. It belonged to them. And when it happened in March, it became everyone's. April onwards, I started sharing the story, because something that was so awesome could not be contained to an event. The event was the cherry on the top, but this team spirit that happened among the volunteers was actually what we wanted to achieve. This is the platform that we wanted to create. Who is watching? Turns out a lot of people. We actually asked our IT department how many people can watch, because, you know, we have town halls with everybody watching quite a few times a year, so I wasn't worried that I'm going to have more people attending this event where it's like just, you know, people talking about how they overcame things and not actual big important decisions that the company is going through. But it turns out that we actually did get way more people watching than any town hall so far. And while at the beginning, hearing the numbers of how many people logged in to watch this were really awesome, when we started going above 1,500, which is what has been achieved so far, we were like, okay. Let's tell people to, you know, log in from other devices because we're going to crash the system. We crashed the system. We crashed the system in many ways. We crashed the system by, okay, having so many people joining. We crashed the system by having so many people joining from many locations where we have offices, from bringing the ability to take democratic decisions on our intranet, right? Because before we asked people to vote who they want to see on stage, we couldn't vote on our intranet, so we had to change that. And we did a bunch of other things that I can tell you about in the break. Now, why do I tell you these things? I tell you these things because it's very important for me to have these people shine. I'm not telling my story now. I'm telling the story of these 26 volunteers who did something extremely brave and extremely awesome that panned out for them. It could have gone either way, because that's what happens in innovation and change. You take a chance, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. You have to live with that. And you have to be in an environment where your manager is not going to bite your head off if you do take a chance on innovation or change. And now I'm going to help you do something that you came here to do, I guess, I hope. You came here to also network, right? And to get to know new people. So I'm taking 2.5 minutes and asking you to talk to the person behind you or in front of you about what you're actually passionate about, not your job. Something you're passionate about outside of your job. It could be a different job you would want to be, but just take 2.5 minutes. I'm telling you to talk to the person behind you or in front because chances are you know the person sitting next to you. So let's go, 2.5 minutes. And tell them why. Tell them why you care about this. What on? Oh, you can join a trio. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. How is it?
Yeah, it's good. It's lively, entertaining, and then it's funny, so I was picking up some of your messages because in the other sessions, it's culture, reiterated, collaboration, it's reiterated in all the other sessions as well. You just can't take a process or method or any one thing. You have to actually integrate it.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. I'm glad. It's going on? Very good. I'm not ready yet. I'm not finished. Okay. Okay. So the 2.5 minutes are done. Let's come back to our seats. Yeah? Let's come back. I strategically did this before the break so that you can continue interesting discussions in the break, which is very soon from now. Please. Very good. Now, how do you feel? How do you feel about the people that you talk to? I see a lot of smiles. How do you feel yourself? Like you as a person about being here? Your smiles tell me that it's probably good, right? I think, yeah, I see people nodding. Now, this is what happened at TED. When people were organizing it, they were talking to each other about the things that they were hoping to do. You don't choose to, make videos because you never wanted to make videos in your life. You choose to do this because you thought, maybe this could be something for me at some point. Went on a different route, that's fine. But now you have skills that maybe combine, maybe you can use them. People appreciate you for it. Maybe you're a super passionate biker and you go with your motorcycle in the Alps every weekend, and you can talk to other people about it that this happened. You can do it together, maybe, I don't know. So this is what we learned at TED, and the big message of this talk that I told you at the very beginning of the talk, that if we allow ourselves to be more than our job titles, to be a whole full person with skills that we may not be using at this very moment, but we still have them and we're passionate about them, we can improve both how we feel at work and how we perform at work. Because we noticed that the people working on organizing this started performing better in their actual jobs, because they would come to work on Monday, not like, oh, it's January, but it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this because I have an idea. And like Daniel Schmucki told you before, he had an idea on the plane here. He's engaged. He watched TED, I'm sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, but still, you can get ideas, get inspired from different places. Other lessons we learned at TEDx6 was that democratic decisions really empower people. You don't need to take every decision way high up. You don't need to. Delegating a task, delegating responsibility empowers people. I'm sure you know this because I see a lot of nodding. Another thing we learned is that COVID really helped us out here. I know this is a very difficult topic to pick up because a lot of people were hurt, the economy was hurt. But when we put everybody on the same level, sitting in front of the laptop with their home behind them, you put them in a rather vulnerable position because you make them show themselves. You see plants in the back, you see a bike in the back, you see children bringing their dad pancakes during an important meeting, which happened, and it was lovely. But you see people as people. And we believe that this connects us in a way that just seeing people in shirts and meetings and then going away doesn't. We also learned that vulnerability is a strength. What one of our colleagues described seeing our colleagues on stage by, they came there and they talked about their feelings. It was like going on stage and taking off your pants in front of the entire company, and people clapped. But it's true. If you take a risk, and you have to if you're going on an unpaved path, you're making yourself vulnerable. But this empowers you rather than take something away. Another thing we learned is that, again, because we were sitting all in front of the computers, we sat at the big round digital table. We have offices, as you've seen before, in a lot of places. But somehow, we managed to only connect and collaborate with the people who are in Zurich. Are the people in Austria and Singapore different? Are they less than? No. They have good ideas, and they're sitting in important markets. But we don't connect with them. Why? Because we don't meet them at the coffee place and ask them, hey, how are you doing? What are you working on? But while we were all digital, this happened. And again, if you remember one thing about this whole talk, do remember that we can improve both our work experience and our work by allowing ourselves to be more than our job titles.
Yes, now, okay. Who is not working for 6? Please raise your hand. Okay. Don't you feel like bringing this idea and this spirit and this passion to your company now? Okay. I have to admit, I missed TEDx. I'm gonna attend the next one, I promise.
You can watch it online.
I will. Good. Now we are fantastic in time. We have about 10 minutes for questions. So who would like to ask a question? How to bring this to your organization?
Or you can talk about your own experience with this sort of stuff, with cultural change or...
I'm curious, have you ever tried a hackathon?
At 6?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious.
That's pretty cool too. But in a hackathon, there's only the people who are actually attending that are getting the benefit, right? So we had a hackathon with F10 when we could, when it was still possible. And a lot of people joined, even people from higher management segments joined as participants, which was really cool. But of course, other than these 30 people from the company that actually joined the hackathon, the others, well, heard about it. But like this, we managed to reach really everyone, and everybody who wasn't actually there on that day heard about it afterwards, or could read on the internet everything that was going on, because our volunteers kept posting, kept making videos. They did a lot, actually. Yeah.
How you're keeping actually now the spirit after the event itself? So is it still continuing like the exchange or the positive power that has been created within the teams? And yeah, obviously how we can bring this also to the other companies. That's I think it's a... Are you now like certified trainer or something like that? I mean, within your event or... Yeah, exactly.
Well, how to bring it to the other companies, that's an easy thing to say. I mean, yes, you can organize a TED event, but you can also start small and, just you yourself take different decisions. Let people take decisions bottom up. Maybe if you have a team and you would have to choose a team lead, let them do it. And how it's going further at 6. We are planning to make another one in 2 years, but I mean, waiting for another TED is not good enough to wait 2 years to get that feeling again. We have had, and actually this is something that I would definitely change for the next one, because we had groups of volunteers working on everything that was happening until the event. And then everything that happened afterwards, I did it. And I missed them. It was such a different feeling to work on things without all the awesome spirit that we had before. And in fact, when the volunteers heard that I'm actually working on stuff, they came back. They were like, "Hey, do you want to help? Like, we have time." Not really, but we'll make time. So yeah. And then it's things like what I'm doing today, just talking about it and reminding people of what went on and how it's important to take those lessons into what we do day by day.
I really liked what you said about keeping the glitter on, right? I mean, we've all seen this, great meetings, great business meetings come together, everyone is excited, and then you get back to work. And what I would be interested to hear is, so you experimented with democratic leadership, with self-led organizations. So how do you leverage that into 6 to change the culture, to change the organization over time?
Yeah.
Just to stop this from being this insulated one-time event.
Yeah, in fact, this was an attempt to keep the glitter on after 6 Spirit, right? But this is not the only thing we're doing. We are doing a lot of other things. For example, a different way for people to learn things in the organization, because we all know, these courses that you have to do where you click through a presentation and then at the end you have a Q&A and you hope you get the 80% to pass it. So we are trying different things. That is not the only thing that we do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation, and I learned a lot today. When people work on the things which are passionate about themselves, they change as an individual. So I would like to know a little bit about your story. How did you change after the event? And also if you know any stories of the people who participated in the event.
Well, I can tell you that myself, I changed a lot. Because before, it's not the first event that I organize, and of course it would be a crazy brave thing for Six to put me in charge of organizing an event if I didn't do it before. But Six is brave, maybe. I changed a lot because when I accepted this, I went from, I'm not sure what other animals there were, but I wasn't an eagle. I was someone who looks at absolutely every detail of how it's being done. I was controlling the colors of pens, And I was so friendly, I'm not going to be like, the pens have to be all red. Why are they not red? But I went from that to how I work today, trusting people that they know more about what they're working on than me, who just briefly comes and looks at how it's going. So that definitely has changed me. The volunteers have changed as well. I'm sure about that because they did learn a lot of things. They took classes in speaking and taking videos and cutting and communication. And there are some volunteers today. I see Sam there. You can, Sam, did it change? How?
Thanks a lot. So being not a native German speaker, I had a task, or I picked it up anyway, to translate Jürg Mark's Swiss-German message. It was a daunting task, and I learned German in Switzerland. Swiss German was the next step, which I never did. So it was a lot of task to do that, get it correct. But I just realized I have amazing network of help, Swiss German friends who could just help me out with some of the things which are very typical Swiss and cannot be translated using Google Translate. Since then, I've been helping some of my friends with their translation, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, but that's not the only change that happened. TEDx and all the other events I've volunteered in has changed me. It has made me network amazingly inside the company and increased my confidence in various ways. Just ask me during the break and I'll tell you more. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one last question from Peter.
Yeah. We heard before that culture is strategy for breakfast.
Yeah.
And I really like the presentation. It's like a grassroots, What is senior leadership doing to make sure this is an evolution, not revolution? So they set the pace and the culture, how they are embracing the learnings.
You know what? Actually, this was, the sponsorship. You have to have sponsorship in Six for everything you do, right? So the sponsors were actually our head of HR and yours, our CEO. They believed in this, and they actually participated in meetings. They were full-heartedly behind this. And when I was asking, look, can we be brave enough to do this and that? They were like, you have to. If you're not doing it for this, how can we tell people in regular meetings, be brave if you can't do it for this. So we do have also this top-down and bottom-up move to be more brave, to try things out, and to feel safe to do it.
Thank you.